Hello everyone, it's Jeff here with another Spin Zone video, cleaning up the rest of the records that I'd been listening to over the last few weeks. Last week, in my last video, I showed like 6 albums, and today I think I've got 6 or 7 more, if you count a 12-inch single, which I just listened to today. So yeah, without any further ado, I'm going to get right to it because I kind of have a lot to go through. I'm admittedly a pretty lightweight metal guy when it comes to my music tastes, although that is slowly changing. I'll make a lame joke here, but I am a big-time metal guy. Huh? Come on. You know that was good. Just kidding. I picked this album up. This is a recent reissue of Metal by Pink Floyd. Here's the back. Here's the gatefold. This is a pretty well-known album, I would think, in the VC. I'll tell you guys a little secret. I'd never listened to this all the way through until I picked this up recently and listened to it. Aside from the song One of These Days, which I'd heard before. Never listened to this album all the way through. So, and what can you say? It's Pink Floyd. It's great. This was right before, this was the album before Dark Side, I believe. So, yeah. Great, great album. I love Pink Floyd. These other 2 albums I also had showed in recent videos. This was the Dylan, Bringing It All Back Home. I was worried that because it had a lot of scuffs, some that I thought looked pretty major, that it was going to sound horrible, and honestly it doesn't. There's a little background noise, not bad. All of those scuffs are inaudible, so this is actually a good playing, good sounding record, so my fears were unfounded on this one. So I was glad about that. But really, I mean, for a 50-plus-year-old album, I mean, there's going to be some background noise, I would think, right? I mean, our expectations for these records that are only getting older every year, as every year goes by, I think can be a little bit much sometimes. So, same with this one. I played Armed Forces all the way through. This was one that I bitched about having all the crap all over it and the white marks. It cleaned up fine, and it played just fine. So, enough with the Costello records. But I just wanted to let you guys know because I was worried and a little annoyed that it was going to be, you know, a crappy sounding record, and it wasn't. It's not. And Armed Forces is a great album. One thing I haven't done in many, many years is sit down and listen to a Beatles album all the way through. I know I showed this recently in a contest entry, I think for Rob's contest, Black Star Vinyl. Like I said, I think in that video, Magical Mystery Tour was one, I think it's the last Beatles album that I didn't own on vinyl, that I wanted to own on vinyl. I don't have them all. I don't really have a desire to have them all on vinyl, but the ones that, this was like the last one I wanted. And it comes with the book. You get the gatefold here, and then it's got the book on the inside of all the different pictures for Magical Mystery Tour. So there's the back, and of course, just about all the songs on here are great mid to late period Beatles. You know, they were still in that psychedelic zone, but this was the tail end of that. And then records coming out after this one was more of their get back to where they once belonged roots. So, but I like the Beatles, and I think I take them for granted. I think a lot of us take them for granted, and you know, we've heard the song so many times in our lives on the radio and elsewhere that sometimes when you just sit down and put one on and just listen to it all the way through, you just get reminded how great the Beatles are. That's all. And there are great tracks on this record, for sure. This one here took me a little while to get through because it's a triple album. It's a triple live album by Santana, and it's called Lotus. And this is the back. This is a very intricate, like triple gatefold with posters, and I don't even know if I can open this without having it all fall apart on me. There's like all this stuff, as you can see. The records are all in there. And this was recorded in '73, I believe. And if you look at the credits, it lists this as the new Santana Band. And I think the only holdovers from the original lineup, besides Carlos Santana, was Michael Shreve on drums and Chipito Arias on congas. But the overwhelming majority of this album is instrumental. There's very, very few vocals. I think for Black Magic Woman, they do that, and there's vocals, but most of these songs are fusion-based kind of quasi-jazz instrumentals. You know, I've mentioned before that Santana went in that jazzy fusion direction in the mid to late '70s with several albums, and this fell in that period. Great to listen to. A lot of it I didn't know. There's not too many hits. There's a few, like or even album tracks that I know. Side 6, the last side on the third record is Incident at Neshaber, which I think was on Abraxas, and that takes up the whole side, and it goes through all these different like phases. Good stuff, but a triple album has a lot of information on it, so it took me a good long time to listen to this and to kind of absorb it. So yeah, Lotus by Santana was that one took like 2-3 days for me to get through. Of course, I didn't have, this was in between doing other things too. And then just last night, I made a, not to pat myself on the back, but I made a delicious dinner for me and the family. And as the kids were doing the dishes, I put on some Hound Dog Taylor. Natural Boogie is this album. And if you know anything about my love for blues and Hound Dog Taylor, you know this album went down just fine. Great, dirty, greasy slide guitar playing by Hound Dog. Minimal instrumentation, back up with just drums and bass. It's like a trio that he works in. And Hound Dog's great. I love him. And have a hard time finding his records, actually. There's only a few. But when I came across this one on eBay, I had to get it and I had to snap it up. The cover is in kind of rough shape, but the record plays really well. So yeah, among Chicago blues players, Hound Dog Taylor's got to be one of my favorites. He's great. Natural Boogie. And just this afternoon, I just put this on Facebook, on the YouTube Vinyl Community page on Facebook. When I went to Half Price last week, this was one of my purchases. It was only like $2, so I couldn't not get it. It's a 12-inch single of the Power Stations' Get It On, Bang a Gong. There you go. Here's the back. For those of you who are interested in the Dead Wax, it's got, I'm not going to be able to show it because you're never going to be able to see it in this light, but in the Dead Wax it has Mastered by Capitol stamped in it, and right next to that is Wally, is the name that's scratched into it. So I'm not exactly sure who that is, but Wally mastered this. So if you know who it is, put a comment down below. Tell me. Yeah, this was a good good song to rock out to in the 80s. It still is. And being a 12-inch single, I just had to relive the past a little bit, so I picked this up. Get It On by the Power Station, featuring the great Robert Palmer on vocals and members of Duran Duran. And last but not least, I also just put this on Facebook too. And I also showed this on my very last video, Call Me by Al Green. This happens a lot of the times when I pull records for contest entries, especially ones that I haven't listened to in a while. You know, and I'll talk about them and say what I like, this, that, and then I'll sit back and it's like, you know what, I need to just play this again and just listen to it. So I had some time this afternoon to just chill out and relax. I have to work 12 hours tonight, night shift, the night 12. So it was always good to kick back with a little bit of coffee. And Al Green. I love Al. So there you go. That's cleans up the rest of the records that I've been listening to, catches me up, gets me current, so I can listen to more. All right, guys. As usual, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, subscribing. Just as a reminder, I'm running a contest called Crazy 8s. I'm still getting entries for it almost every day, at least one a day here. So I think I'm up, I counted last night, I'm up to 35. Yeah, this has gone way beyond anything I could have imagined. So thank you for that. And there's still time to enter for those of you who are still interested. Just go to my channel and you can see my video with all of the rules. It's called Crazy 8s. And it's funny because Andy's Vinyl Den is doing a 777 contest for 777 subscribers. Vinylizer is doing a 666 contest. It's got all these numbers contests going on here, which is cool. I entered Andy's contest. I want to try to enter Vinylizers, but I'm having a hard time coming up with enough stuff for my collection with the Devil or Satan or 666 in it. But I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep looking. So that could be up this week, I'm hoping. And other than that, I hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody has a good week. I should be back later on this week with another video. So until then, peace, and I'll talk to you soon.